Oh, hey, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on governing AI usage at scale. So, what works, what fails, and what you need to know. So, I'm Abhigna from CloudFuze, host for this session, and I'm excited to have you all here today. So, in this session, we'll be discussing about growing importance of AI governance and common challenges organizations are facing and practical ways to scale AI securely and responsibly. So, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, so we will cover them at the end. And now I would love to introduce the speaker for today, Yogi, Senior Account Manager at CloudFuze, who brings strong experience working with enterprise clients and driving solution-based conversations. So over to you, Yogi.
Sure,
And I'll
Abhigna.
just share, I'll
Yep.
just share my screen. So just let me know whether it is.
All right. So thanks for the introduction, Abhigna. Mhm. And welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm really glad everyone's here. So we're going to talk about something that's keeping a lot of IT and security leaders up at night right now, which is AI tools inside your company that nobody approved, nobody's watching, nobody knows what they are doing with your data. So by the end of the session, you'll walk away knowing what's actually at risk, what mistakes to avoid, and what you can do about it starting today. So let's get into it. So if you can move to the next slide, Abhigna. Quick introduction about us. We've been around in business for over a decade. We are headquartered in North Carolina, and we specialize in helping enterprises manage and migrate their cloud and AI environments. So one of the top tech research firms has recognized us as a standout vendor in Microsoft 365 governance tools. That's Gartner, by the way. So this is basically a fancy way of saying, we help companies stay in control of their data. And we have two main products, one for migrations and one for management and governance. So today we are going to focus on the governance side of the business. So let's move on. Okay, so before we go any further, let me ask you something. Just a quick poll. Does your organization have a formal AI usage policy today? So this is just to get a sense of where everyone is, right? There is no right or wrong answer. Just a simple question. Does your organization have a formal AI usage policy today? So yeah, keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the session. This really tells us a story.
Yeah, actually, we have Michael
Mhm.
oh, sorry. Oh, Michael raised his hand.
So you can continue sharing the screen and we can take up the questions at the end, Abhigna.
Okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you can on the chat so Michael can share his questions. And then, at the last session wherein we take care of the questions, we can address any questions there.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving on to the next slide. Well, the second question I'd like to ask, if you can go to the next slide, and
Yes, yes.
this one might surprise you. How many AI tools? Not this slide. Sorry. Yes. How many AI tools do you think are actively being used right now inside your organization? You can take a guess. Don't overthink it. So here's the thing: most of the people either underestimate or have absolutely no idea. The number of AI tools in the organization, and that's kind of the whole problem we are here to talk about today. With that, yeah, let's move to the next one. Now, here's a number that should get your attention. So between 40% to 65% of employees at an organization are using AI tools that IT never approved. So nearly half, or more than that of your workforce is using AI tools on their own, tools that they have access to, and your customer data. So this isn't about employees doing something wrong. They're just trying to get their work done faster. But the question is, can you see what's happening? If you can't see it, can't protect it. Period. Uh, can you please move to the next slide? Here's another number. So this one's from IBM, IBM's 2025 data breach report. 63% of the organization that experienced a security breach did not have an AI governance policy. Well, let that sink in. So nearly 2 out of 3 companies that got hit had no policy in place. So governance isn't a nice to have. It's not a nice to have anymore. I mean, it's your first line of defense. So we might be thinking, okay, we've dealt with shadow IT before. Employees use applications we don't know about all the time. So what we do is we basically find them, we block them, problem solved. Well, AI is different. And here's why. With regular shadow IT, the risk was someone's using an app we didn't approve. The fix was simple. Simply block it or approve it. With AI, the risk is what the tool has access to, and what it does after it's connected. So basically, we're talking about 3 layers of exposures, or 3 layers that you need to worry about. The layer 1 is shadow IT tools. So employees using their personal ChatGPT or Claude accounts for work. Your company data is going into a tool you don't control. Layer 2 is ungoverned Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot is powerful, but if there are no guardrails, it can summarize documents, read emails, touch data across entire Microsoft environment, and nobody's watching what it has access to. And the layer 3, and this one is the scariest, employee built agents. So, regular employees, not developers, can now build AI agents using, Copilot Studio, Zapier AI. So these agents can send emails, make decisions, and process business data automatically. And most of the IT teams have, no idea that they exist. So, this is not an old problem for sure. It's really much bigger. So if we can move to the next one, Abhigna.
Yeah, I'll touch it.
Yep. So what do, companies typically do when they realize they have an AI problem? Usually they make, one of these 4 mistakes. They treat AI like regular SaaS. So your existing policies cover who can access an app. They don't cover what an AI agent does inside an app on its own, right? So the second one is blocking instead of governing. So when you block a tool, employees don't stop using it. They just, use it on their personal phone or laptop. Now we've lost all the visibility. And the mistake 3 talks about no agent inventory, beg your pardon. So most companies cannot even list all the AI agents running in their environment. Who build them, what data they have access to, nobody knows that. And mistake 4 is basically waiting for something to go wrong. So building a governance policy after a breach isn't a strategy. It's basically a damage control, right? So by then, the data is already out of the door. Well, the good news is all 4 of these are fixable. That's where we are going to talk about next. So if you go to the next screen. Now, what an AI governance framework actually covers. So what does an framework looks like? Think of it in 3 pillars. So you see it, you need to know every AI tool and agent that's active in your environment, not just the ones IT approved, all of them. Understand it. So once you can see them, you need to know what they're doing, what the data are, what what data are they touching, the permissions they have, are they still being used, or sitting there with access they don't need. And the third one is control it. Then basically go ahead and set rules, what's allowed, what gets flagged, what gets blocked, and make sure these rules actually enforce themselves, not just live in a policy document nobody really cares. So that's the framework. Simple in concept, tricky in execution, which is where the right platform or the right tooling comes in. So if you go to the next slide, please. So this is where CloudFuze Manage comes in. It's built specifically to solve these problems we just spoke about. The problem one, shadow IT, shadow AI. You can't see, manage, surface unauthorized AI tools and flag risks before your data leaves the building. Agents you didn't know existed. It discovers every AI agent across tools like Copilot, AI, Azure AI Foundry, SharePoint, and Google Vertex AI. Gives you a full picture in one platform. And the policies that don't enforce themselves. So this isn't a spreadsheet or a manual, right? A manual audit. You set the rules, you get real-time alerts, and you can take actions all in one place. So basically, this gives you like one platform with full visibility and actual control. So let's go into a quick demonstration of the platform. I'm going to quickly share my screen. And do a quick demonstration of the AI governance. Abhigna, please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, right. You can see.
Okay. So under AI Hub, you can see the AI usage. This basically gives you a dashboard of the total AI agents, the total AI tools that are in an organization. Give me a minute. Yeah, so just going to save some bandwidth by switching off my camera. Yep. So gives you a bird's eye view of all the AI tools in the organization. What's the total spend of the AI, active users, and the idle seats. Idle seats tells you the money wasted each month. So you can take action, basically deassign users or just assign seats to help you decrease the wastage, right, in dollars. And this style tells you employees or users using 2+ AI tools in my organization, right? Now let's look at the AI tools in my organization. Gives you a high-level overview of the total spend, cost per user, productivity, and adoption. So if I want to see, if a particular AI tool's not been adopted in a way it should, I can go in and drill down and see how people are using it, right? So again, these 4 tiles represent pretty straightforward total users, how many are active, how many are unassigned. So you can take action accordingly, either assign the users or just, deassign the users. Total subscription cost and per user cost. Now let's look at the tool usage distribution. So Copilot is integrated with the whole Microsoft ecosystem. Like it can be in Teams, Outlook, Word, or in any Microsoft native apps, right? So this data shows that the Copilot is mostly in Outlook and Teams, but not so much in other apps. So if need be, you can increase your adoption by, deploying it in other apps or letting your employees know that, start using it in PowerPoint and, Copilot chat and what have you. So the next pie chart shows us adoption by department. So we've seen organizations deploy AI department-wise. So this information is really helpful when you are in that stage of deployment. Now, daily usage pattern is, it's pretty straightforward, right? So it says that daily interactions users are having with these AI tools, and based on that, the line graph, which says the daily queries. Now let's look at the user activity. So with Microsoft Copilot, you have multiple sources in Microsoft itself. Like there's Copilot Studio, or there is Copilot that comes with Microsoft Workspace. So if somebody has Copilot Studio, they are building agents, or they're doing a lot of workflows, and building processes, right? Now you have to know how well they're using it, right? So you can see what kind of LLM models they are using and how many requests they are making, and which LLM models they are using. So this way I can see how users are interacting or using the particular AI tool. So Copilot for in this instance. Let's take another AI tool example. Let's take Cursor. So Cursor is basically mostly used by the devs. It's a code editor platform or AI tool. So people use it to write and edit codes. So we deep dive into Cursor, just like Copilot. It gives me a high level overview of the users, active. Um, what's my subscription cost per user cost and the acceptance rate. So we give you individual data for each, beg your pardon. So we give you data for how many lines of codes were added in Cursor and how many, were accepted overall, right? So it gives you an overall acceptance and, how many lines added and how many were accepted. How many requests per day in a bar graph, line graph. So, pretty fancy reporting. And you can also make requests to an agent in Cursor. So you can look at the graphs for how many requests per day. So this one. Now let's look at the user activity in Cursor, right? So Cursor is priced differently. Let me tell you, how this user activity helps. So we give you individual data for each user as to how many lines of code they've added, deleted, tabs shown, tabs accepted, and how many requests they've made in Cursor, and most importantly, which LLM model they are using. So there are free models and there are premium mod premium paid models, which adds to the total spend. So you might want to keep a tab on that, so users are not misusing or overusing a certain premium model, right? So this is how this AI hub, AI usage helps you out. Now let's look at the agent governance. So in agent governance, you can connect multiple sources, either your Microsoft or your Google Workspace. So let's take Microsoft in this example, and it'll discover all the agents in my Microsoft environment. So over here, it's discovered 48 agents, right? Then it categorizes under which category that particular agent was built in. So it discovered 22 agents in a Copilot, 3 agents in Teambots, and 4 in SharePoint that way. So it'll basically categorize. And then we give a compliance score, and you can build it, right? We'll help you build that. We have some default scoring system built out so you can begin, and then we can customize based on your usage, based on how you use your tools, and how you calculate the risk internally. So we calculate the compliance score, the high and critical risk signals, and the stale agents, right? So uh, let me first go to the compliance score. Like, let me go in and show you how we calculate the compliance score. So now you have these conversations, right? You're making with Copilot or Gemini. So, what the platform does is it monitors these conversations. The platform will be able to find out if the users are sharing any sensitive content, sorry, with the agents, and we can trigger notifications based off that to IT and security teams whenever this happens. Now, in this conversation, the user has gone and shared their account number, their social security number over here. See, so social security number, account number, their routing number. So it basically gives out, the four findings and gives out a compliance score. So in essence, whatever data the users are ingesting as prompts to the agent, it is monitored and scored accordingly. So this becomes the compliance score, and we can fully customize it, right? This is just a demo data. Now, let's look at the risk management and stale agent. So, again, now what we've done is created or computed a risk posture on how we computed the risk posture is we have some specific risk signals that we follow off the shelf. I'll come to those in a bit, but let's look at few agents like this one, for instance, ClaimSpot Pro. It'll give the activity and content like how many conversations, just the generic information off the shelf, and then it'll give a risk breakdown. So what are the risks that were identified? So it has broader data access, meaning if it's and I'll talk about broader data access in shortly with an example, but it identified this, right? And it's a high risk, so it'll give all the risks that it identified, and I will also give out some recommendation, right? So restrict SharePoint access to claims document library only. So basically, if this particular agent has access to more sites, it can read or access more sites, it becomes a high risk. It should only be able to access the risk site, or sorry, the claims site, beg your pardon. Similarly, for renewal or this one, it found out that HIPAA regulated data was available or was able to read it. So it'll give out recommendation, enable HIPAA auditing logging, implement PHI data masking and whatnot, right? Now let's go ahead and showcase how we basically calculate the risk, right? Compute the risk posture. So these are few scopes that we've built in off the shelf. And again, as I said, everything's customizable. We can work with you and create some scopes like this for your own organization. But let's look at the broad connector scope. So the agent is supposed to only have specific set of permissions and specific set of knowledge. So let's say I built an agent where it's reading my HubSpot data, and I'm from sales. And it gives me a brief. I built an agent, and it gives me a brief of my opportunities from HubSpot. So ideally, my agent should only have access to HubSpot data and nothing else. However, if agent is able to access other things like SharePoint sites, my Zoom meeting notes, it'll immediately be flagged as critical under the risk signal, right? So this is what the broad connector scope does. Let's talk about the no assigned owner or orphaned agent. So let's take the same example. I built a HubSpot agent to brief me on my opportunities, what's going on, and say I win a lottery. I quit the job and I go on a vacation. Now, who's monitoring that agent, right? I quit. So there's nobody to review it. It's an orphaned agent. So someone has to, review, monitor, What if there were a bug in LLM model which I used to create this agent, due to which it started editing, deleting my opportunities. So, this is a very critical risk. So this is the risk management, and you will be able to see all the high and critical risks over here. So we spoke about compliance and the risk management. Let's talk about the stale agents. So you can set a threshold. Our the default threshold is 30 days. So if something has not been used for 30 days, we put it as a stale agent. So based on the activity, we show when it was last used and how long has it been sitting idle. So yeah, that's all about the stale agents. Pretty straightforward. Let's look at the cost. So if a team builds, Teams or SharePoint bots, those are already included with the Microsoft E3, E5 licenses, right? There's no cost associated. However, if the users are building agents in AI Foundry, which is Azure, then it'll be charged extra for whichever model that they are using to create those agents. Now, these charges are not covered in the license cost, so that they are an additional spend, right? So using this dashboard, you can see the extra charges in one place. So let's look at the pricing reference. So this is the pricing reference, right? So for instance, if I ask a simple question, how's the weather in Atlanta? If you see ChatGPT Mini is given, for every input token, it's costing me 15 cents, and every output token, it's costing me 60 cents. But if you see ChatGPT 4, it takes, sorry, 4.0, it takes 2.5 input and, $10 at output. So yeah, you're asking the same question, but which LLM model the users are using, it's the pricing varies, right? So you can monitor it that way. So there's one way of looking at the data. Well, finally, moving on to the policies, or in simple terms, workflows, right? So we've identified all our risks. We know what the agents are doing, but we need to have a way wherein we monitor the agents, right? So that's where we create policies. So you name the policy, what type of policy it should be, whether it's a connector or a stale. So if it's a stale policy, then we have added the if conditions. If it's stale for, say, 30 days, then flag, and it'll immediately create a notification over to the admin or to a team. So let's look at the standard policies that we've created. So stale agent cleanup. So no activity in past 30 days, review, or potential decommissioning. So it'll be decommissioned. Orphaned agent or agent detection. So every time someone leaves and the agent gets orphaned, escalate, so it'll send out a notification. So this way you can create your own policies. We've got quite broad scope over here. Yeah, so this brings me an end to my short presentation. This is pretty high level, right? We can go in depth and do the demonstration if you're interested. So Abhigna, you can pull up the slide, please.
Yeah, that was so insightful, Yogi.
Thank you so much.
I think you can see my screen, right?
Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what we covered today. Agent governance dashboard. So, we covered the agents governance dashboard, risk coding, AI safety monitoring, shadow AI discovery, stale agent detection, and token cost tracking and policy enforcement. So all of this in one platform, in one dashboard. moving.
Yeah.
So what actually changes when AI governance is in place? Let me break it down, right? Uh, by who cares about what, right? So for IT and security, it'll have no more blind spots. You can see every tool and agent, and when something goes wrong, you respond faster because you already know that what's in your environment. And for compliance teams, you get audit-ready documentation and alignment with the standards like SOC 2, GDPR, and ISO 27001. So no more scrambling with when an auditor asks questions. For finance, you can see which AI tools people are actually using versus which ones you're paying for. So you cut the waste, stop the surprises. And for the business overall, employees, keep the tools that they make them productive. Uh, IT replaces the risky ones. Security and productivity stops being opposite. So that's the real payoff, not just fewer risk. It's basically better outcome across the board. So that brings us to our questions, right? So I thank you very much for everyone's time. Hope this gave a clear picture on what's at stake with AI governance and what you can do about it. So yeah, let's move on. Please drop in your questions, and yeah, we'll be happy to address. Also, one more thing. So if you'd like to, want to see CloudFuze in your environment, if you want to see a in-depth demonstration, we'll be able to do that as well. Over to you, Abhignav.
Yes, Yogi. And I would appreciate, yeah, we got a question. Nice presentation, no questions. That's cool, Michael. And I would appreciate if someone would take time and response on the chat below.
So let's wait for a couple
Yeah,
of
we
minutes.
have a question. Yep,
Oh, okay, great.
one of the participants. Yeah, is this solution future proof? I mean, agents are evolving continuously fast.
Yes, it is. We can work with you if there is something that is not off the shelf. We can definitely incorporate that. Any particular one that you have in mind?
Or maybe he didn't mention that
Okay.
specifically. Yep, cool.
But yes, we are evolving, and every time we get use cases, we incorporate that in our platform. So we can work with you. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And we got a question. How enterprise organizations are adapting AI now? Would governance layer benefit them for security?
So how enterprises are adopting
Adopting
the
AI
governance for
Yeah.
security?
Yes.
Yeah. So we spoke about um, you know the risk scoring part. So what we do is we first discover all the agents, and then we create a risk scoring portfolio, right? And then we monitor them, right? So there are real-time alerts every time something falls under a criteria which is high risk. We instantly send out a notification to the admin, to the security team. If I gave an example, right? What if I win a lottery? I leave the organization. One of the agents I created became an orphaned agent, right? So it's just sitting out there dormant, but still holding live permissions. So we send a notification uh, in that scenario. So yeah, that way people find it really useful, and enterprises and organizations are leveraging these use cases that we offer to help them in regard to the security.
Yeah, cool. That was good. And we have a question. So, what are the common mistakes companies make when adopting AI without governance?
Um, so yeah, the shadow IT, shadow AI, wherein companies don't know uh, like what's being used, and AI is basically already in their environment, like what the agents basically accessing their data, not only their internal but also the customer data. So having before enforcing or enabling an AI into an organization, um, having those expectations set that once I incorporate the AI, these are the things that we will be exposed to and how we can uh, s- help ourselves by those risks. So
Yeah, we have a question from Michael and from the chat. I think you can also view it. AI could also be getting trained on your proprietary code, which then show up in the code presented to third parties. Who's asking that?
yeah, that one AI could I can see that question. Thanks,
Yeah.
Michael. So you train on your proprietary tools, which then shows up in code presented to third parties. This one I can check with my engineer. If I'll be telling you, if I'll be telling you anything, I won't be well versed or I'll be bullshitting on this one. So let me take this as an action item, and we can get back to you, Michael.
Yep. Let's continue. How to monitor and control AI usage across multiple teams?
Yeah, so that's where our AI dashboard, AI usage dashboard that we went over comes in. It basically showcases under AI usage how teams are leveraging uh, the AI, and that's the feature we have in our platform off the shelf.
Yeah, cool. And like, how do we prevent data leakage through AI applications?
It was a statement. Sorry, I was just reading Michael's.
Ye- Yeah. Okay,
It
he
was
was.
a statement, could be used in the AI training. That's a good point. Sorry, Abhigna, you were saying
Yes, yes. How do we prevent data leakage through AI applications?
through AI applications.
Yeah,
So by monitoring them,
yeah.
yeah, by having a platform like CloudFuze to monitor the AI usage, monitor how they are accessing our internal tools, how the agents are accessing it, how users are interacting with it. So yeah, by monitoring it.
That sounds good. And yep, the I think questions are going to end. Oh, we have a question from one of our participants. How can enterprises ensure secure usage of AI tools across teams?
Sorry, could you pardon? How can enterprises what?
How can enterprises ensure usage of AI tools across teams?
So building adoption. Yeah, that's again
Yeah.
part of our solution. We have that off the shelf. You can have a bird's eye view of the total AI. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and share my screen. So people usually are visual, right? So instead, if I just say that is in our
Yeah, yeah,
tool, I'll
that
just,
makes sense.
yeah. So let's look at the AI usage. Now, it discovers all the tools in the organization, and ensuring usage is looking at the adoption, right? So it breaks down like what are people, most of them are using in Outlook and Teams, right? One, if I want to increase the adoption, I'll tell my users to use it in all of the other Microsoft applications. And I can look at department wise, right? So if operations team is falling behind, then I might question, the admin might question, or why is the team not using this particular Copilot so much? So that way you can increase the AI adoption. Yeah,
And there's one more question.
sure.
What
Fire.
common mistakes do enterprises make when adopting AI?
When adopting AI, right?
Yeah.
So there are a list of mistakes. Not once AI is adopted, not monitoring the AI. Uh, you know, they don't have access to like what's going on. So yeah, on those lines. So governance is really important. So when you have whenever an organization implements and enforces an AI in an organization, should think about having a governance policy.
Yeah. Oh, this is the cool question. So what is the biggest you know uh mistake enterprises make when they're implementing AI governance?
Oh, it's the same question asked this
Same
different
question. Yep. But
way.
it's just a different way implementing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, you can see the chat, right? From Rashmi. Can we enforce AI security policies enterprise wide?
Uh, Hold on. Sorry. Let me have a look. Can we enforce AI security policies enterprise-wide using CloudFuze? No.
Mm. Yeah, so that was a nice, insightful session we had. So I think the questionnaire session was end, so no questions anymore. So thank you all for joining us with today. And if you would like to continue the conversation or learn more about CloudFuze approach for AI governance, so feel free to connect with us after the session also. So we are available anytime. So thank you all. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.